both of us would have to practice a lot to get that good again. Neither of us would be able to clear that tonight, for sure.
I died.
The old... Yeah, don't worry, I died too. The old school Darius game... yeah. Yeah. Nope. The old school Darius games are, like, not really well made for multiplayer. Most shmups are not well made for multiplayer, but some are. Some are. Some are better than others. Darius vs. ACEX, all that. Those games are really, really fun in multiplayer. In fact, I think that game really shines more in multiplayer than it does in single player. And you can tell that it was designed for, like, lots of players. We should do a multiplayer run of that sometime here. That would be fun. Already got hit in the first stage. Yeah, this is like an advice that I put in the guide that I wrote for this game, but like, Darius is just a game where shit happens. And shit happens, like, even in stage 1. And you shouldn't get in the habit of just, like, completely, like, quitting and throwing the run just because you got hit. Like, even if you get hit in stage 1, I suggest that you just keep going. Because, like, overall, there are actually a lot of shields in Darius 1. You'll get lots, so just don't sweat it. Like, you're gonna take hits. Some aspects of the game are a little bit random. It's a little, just a little bit different every time you play, every run you do. So, it's alright. It's alright to get hit. It's different from something like Double Punching, where, like, one hit is, like, your whole life is gone just from that.
Crazy Taxi is better.
Crazy Taxi is better than this
You
game.
can crash into anything.
That's true. It's the opposite. Yeah.
And then your car, your ship doesn't die.
It's indestructible, but then you're like flipping over the other cars.
And then your customers still give you high five.
Well, sometimes they kick your car, but it's only if you're slow. If you kill 10 people on the way,
but
they're
then
good.
you still get money from them. It doesn't matter.
Actually, they seem to like it when you crash into things.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, have a tip. You're gonna have to stream Crazy Taxi instantly. And I actually really want to stream ECA, the Emergency Call Ambulance.
Ah, yeah, I want to play that game.
I'm not really paying enough attention here. Doing quite badly.
Yeah, why you behind? I thought you said stay in front.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So, the stay in front thing is like a general goal, but it doesn't really apply to the bosses. Actually, for the bosses, a lot of the time you're going to be more towards the left, and it's just because their patterns can be very hard to almost impossible to dodge when you're towards the right of the screen. But
Can you turn this?
I actually don't know how to turn it on. You should unplug it, it'll probably just die.
Unplug it.
Yeah, like I say, you want to be on the right of the screen, but that's only a general advice. It is going to depend a bit on the situation. Like, you'll see in this stage, for example, there's points where I pull almost all the way to the left of the screen. This will be the first one here. The reason is, if you are on the far right, you'll miss these two blue power-ups, because they actually would end up spawning behind you, and then you won't get the hit. But you'll see, as you can see now, that once I have those power-ups, I'm going to try to just go all the way back to the right. Another reason it's very helpful to like stay towards the right of the screen in Darius 1 is it helps you deal with the turrets quickly. Now see, there's a good example. Like, I was almost too far to the right, and I almost missed the shield. Now see, if you noticed, if you had like an eagle eye just now, you'll see that one of the ships holding a red power-up actually just flew past me because it flew straight through the ceiling, and there was no way for me to get the power-up. That almost never happens. Like, he'll almost always fly down, and you'll be able to get that power-up easily. But that's a very good example of shit happening in Darius 1. Like, it is not a manic game. Like, the enemies behave somewhat randomly, and so sometimes they'll just fly through the ceiling, you'll get fucked and you'll miss power. Not a reason to just quit and throw the run in the trash. Like, yeah, just keep going. There's enough resources that you'll be alright. That said, if you miss too many power-ups, it can start to be a big problem. Now Alice's player 2 controller is going crazy with the vibration. No, I think we'd have to do it in the Switch game. Fairly easy boss here. If you were playing for score, this would be the first point in the game where you're really trying to like milk for score. You do that by killing those little ships he sends out while avoiding killing the boss. But I'm lazy and I don't actually think this game has fun scoring, so screw that. That was not intended. Bear with me. I am going to pause the Switch for just a second, because I want to turn off this controller. Yeah. Turning it back on. Is the stream still good, Alice? Still looking alright? We're back in?
Yeah.
Alright, we're good to go. Yeah, sorry about that. Ashy's controller was like losing its mind from the body sonic vibration effects. Alright, stage 3. I would say overall, I'm doing very badly this run, but could be worse, I guess. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
I'm still alive. I still have a shield.
I can't even pass some. Yeah.
What, the stage 2?
Yeah.
Well, that's because we were in multiplayer mode. I didn't pass it either. I died almost as fast as you did. There's an interesting fact is that most shmups are actually way harder in multiplayer than they are in single player mode. Like, I think you could probably learn to make it a little ways, at least, into Darius 1 with pretty clear levels. Beating it, I think you'd have to practice. Stage 3 or so, no big deal. This is the first stage where you can see one of Extra's more unique points. It has to do with those ground enemies will take like 2 hits to kill rather than 1. In the original Darius, like the old version and the new version, these turrets, like these ones down here, they'll actually die in 1 hit, which makes them not that big of a threat. But in Darius Extra, you really have to like maneuver properly to kill them and time it carefully. It annoys a lot of people who are used to playing the old game, but it's just kind of something you have to get used to with Extra. So normally, if you don't miss any power-ups, you'll reach this boss Dual Shears with the level 1 like laser, which is really like weak weapon at level 1. It gets better as you level it up, but because I missed a power-up, this boss will actually be easier than me, because I have a really powerful like missile weapon. Darius is a bit weird in that your weapon doesn't always get stronger with power-ups. Like, it'll actually change to a different type of weapon eventually. And when that happens, it'll at least temporarily be weaker than what you had before it. If we're talking raw firepower, the first weapon, you'll see it like right above my ship there. It says missile. That's the first weapon. That one actually has the highest like fire in the game, just because of like, you can see I have like a shot limit right now of 5 on screen. So when you get close to an enemy and you rapid fire them, you do a shitload of damage really fast. But the laser, it can't do that, so it takes some practice to get used to. So we're probably going to get that quickly here in Stage G. Stage G is like the infamous, this is the hardest stage in the whole run, really. It took me forever to learn when I was first learning to play this game. But Stage G is much easier in Darius Extra than it is in the older new versions. The reason has to do with the boss. Basically has like way less HP, which makes it possible to beat him using this laser here. Normally in old and new version you would just avoid ever powering up before getting this boss, because it's not impossible to beat him with the laser. In fact, I have done it, but like it's not fun. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So we're gonna hang back again because we have one of these little Amina things. Bringing us some blue shields. Gotta deal with those round missile launchers. Hoping I don't miss that green power up. And I didn't. That's good. The green power ups are for your missile, your sort of surface-to-air weapon. You get the level 2 missile pretty early on, which is a big help, but you want to have the 4-way missile by the time you reach like the next to last stage. And if you don't get it pretty early on, that stage can be really hard. So that's why you really want to get all the green power-ups you can. Unlucky there. That's what it is. Alright, so this is the big boy. This is the one that always kicks everybody's ass. This is Fatty Glutton, and Fatty Glutton is one of the biggest bitches in all of, like, the entire Darius series. It probably doesn't look like much if you never played the game, but anybody who's played this game probably fucking hates Fatty Glutton's guts, because it's just a nightmarishly hard boss, as I said, especially in old and new. In Extra, the same strategy applies, but basically, you don't want to focus on him, you want to focus on the fish that he spits out. And you tap kind of slowly, and then every time you kill one of his piranha, it will suicide and shoot out a little spread. If you move, the spread is always the same, like 4-shot, and if you move forward to hit his fish and then backwards, you'll end up giving yourself just enough space to go through the center of the thread. Now you see, he died really fast. That's because it's Extra version. So in Extra version, even with the laser, you can take him down really quickly. But if you're doing this in new version or original version, the same strategy with the laser, you can still use it, even with the laser, but it will take you like a long time, like almost 3 minutes straight, before you're ever able to take him down. So it's really tough. Especially considering that you do actually want to power up for score play in the old and new version, so if you're playing very seriously, you're gonna have to learn to do that strategy. On the flip side, there's a very cheap and easy way to kill Fatty Glutton as well in old and new version, which basically involves not powering up, and then just like I showed you killing the first boss, Iron Fossil, you just kind of instantly kill him before you can do anything. You can do the same thing to Fatty Glutton in original and new. And you'll have to let me know if anybody comes in the chat, actually, because I cannot see it. this stage, I'm not really explaining what I'm doing here, but there's a special strategy you can use in this game where you sit at the front of the screen. Even though it doesn't look like I'm at the front of the screen, this is actually as far as you can move in Darius 1. You cannot move any farther than this. And then if you sit at the front of the screen like this, and you use like your full auto laser, and you hold down forward to shoot your like missiles forward, you can basically point blank the entire stage. I've never seen anything like this in any other game. But yeah, I just personally call this technique like the stage point blank. It's just like point blanking a boss, except you're point blanking literally the stage itself. And you can just wreck this stage. It's really easy. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is watch out for those little missile cars that you see every now and then on the bottom. Alright, we're doing pretty good. We have the wave now. We have a gold shield, we got the wave. We're good on missiles, we haven't missed any of those. I'm a bit rusty on these later fights and their strategies, but I can usually wing it. There's some really like effective, good strategies that make most of the bosses in this game very easy. In this one, the main thing you want to do is make sure that you blow up his limbs as fast as possible. Yeah, like that. But I took a hit right at the start, but there are ways to avoid taking hits at all and kill him really fast like that. But again, these speed kills are not they're not good for score play. In score play, you don't want to kill the bosses fast. You want to kill the bosses like after sitting around for a long time, killing the little like Zako enemies that they shoot out at you. But I'm lazy, and like I said, I don't actually think this game is all that fun for score, so... Alright, so here we are, the next to last stage. This stage is, actually, it's a pretty tough stage. It's very hard if you don't have the wave, especially. But when you have the wave, which is pretty easy to get, that's the weapon I'm using now. In Darius Extra, you don't really have a problem getting to the point where you can use the wave, and then it makes this stage a lot easier. Now we have 4-way missiles as well, which means probably I'm gonna nab the clear, I think. Usually when I don't clear a run of this game, it's because I miss too many power-ups, and I do not, either I don't have the wave, or I don't have the 4-way missile in this stage early enough. Like, maybe I get it way late in the stage. And then by that time, I've lost so many shields already that there's, like, no coming back. But at this point, it's not going to be any problem. So, this stage, the main thing you want to do is just learn to use the terrain to your advantage. You do still kind of want to stay to the right most of the time, and you'll see me sort of trying to fight my way towards the right. But you also want to use these, like, stalactites, stalagmites? I don't know which one is which. You know, to block the enemy's shots and protect yourself. That's the main strategy for this stage. And also, like, once you get the wave, you will notice that I don't use the full auto shot very often anymore. And that's because the wave is just not really an effective weapon with full auto. The laser isn't either. The only time you will use full... Oh, I got screwed. See, that was some bad luck. So that power-up just kind of flew really fast up off the screen. That's another, like, shit happens in Darius moment. Usually that doesn't happen, it'll float really slowly and you can grab it. What causes that is when the power-ups spawn inside of the terrain, it will... I don't know if you would call it a physics engine, but it kind of has this, like, false physics engine that causes things like that. This boss, all you gotta do is just sort of go up and down with him. As long as you don't get greedy with your shots, you'll be fine. If he goes down, you go up. So, that's all you do. Over and over. If you try to stay in front of him, you'll die, because there's not enough gaps between his shots. Well, there we go, no problem. That is another one down. And next is the final stage of this route. This is the all-up route, Z Prime. Despite how much I love this game, I have not actually learned every route in it, although if I put in any amount of effort, I probably could. I'll try to get there eventually. Well, usually when I play at the arcade or at home, I just go for this, like, all-up Z-Prime route. Relax and enjoy myself. There's an extend hidden, like, in the terrain there, that's why I flew through it just now. For those not as versed in shmup terminology, extend is just a word we use for extra lives. Not sure where it came from. Cave, maybe? Probably older than that, if I had to guess. Might not have even originated in shmups. But it's a term that we always use. So this stage, if you're looking at it, you'll notice something about it. It's actually really chill. Like, it's not a very hard stage. Like, in Extra, at this point, you've powered up a lot, and usually this stage is just not going to be much trouble. The time you'll get trouble in this stage is if you get here and you're not properly powered up. This stage is also very generous with shields. There's a bunch of blue power-ups in this stage, which is really helpful because the boss is actually pretty tough. Like, powered up or not, it's definitely one of the hardest bosses. Probably the hardest in this game other than Fatty Glutton. So... the stage? No. The stage is just me trying to collect shields. If you look at the sort of overlays that this Switch version has, you'll see something called arm strength. That's actually how many shields I've collected, and it caps out around 25. So I've actually capped it, which means I have essentially max health. So I can take 25 hits before I'll die. Yeah, you see, I just picked up a blue shield there, but I couldn't even get any more because I'm already capped. Everything is capped. Even though the multi-missile, it says it's not finished, the moment you get 4, it's already capped out. The further missiles make no difference to the actual power. So here we are, final boss. Great theme. Got some cool music. Very hype fight. Feels really cool in the arcade because the whole arcade machine like rumbles as you play. This guy's a bit tougher. He's got some like nail-biting, patterns going on. The main thing with him is he's kind of like Fatty Glutton in the sense that he shoots out like smaller enemies. They're dolphins in this case. They will die and then they'll shoot out a bunch of shots at you in a force break. But what makes him a little tougher is that he is also, a great thing himself, is also shooting out a bunch of like patterns at you, which can get pretty hairy. As you can see, taking a lot of hits here. And then he's got these little gray enemies that he's spitting out by like the 100. Yeah, it's pretty tough. The little enemies he spits at you, the best thing you can do is just, as long as you're holding full auto on your missile, or bomb actually, the multi, you can pretty much ignore them because your multi will actually protect you. And he's dead. And that is our sort of quick and dirty 1cc of Darius Extra with some half-assed commentary. So
You didn't max out your multi, there's still one.
I don't think that you can max out the multi in this route. I don't think I've ever done it. I think there's not enough green powers to do it. But it makes no difference. So the thing about the bomb and the missile is that only the tier affects its damage or its properties.
Okay.
So there's actually only 3. There's the basic 1 bomb, there's the 2-way missile, and the 4-way missile. But actually taking like the yellow blocks and filling up the power-up bar, it does nothing other than give you progress towards the next level. So even if I were to get the extra yellow block there, it would make no difference at all.
Okay.
None. So the ship was already maxed out. So yeah, pretty mediocre score overall. Probably not going to rank me in very high, but that's okay. We're just relaxing and enjoying some space fishing here.
it if you don't.
Oh, but I don't want to hear the music of the game.
No, if you turn up.
It's already out. It was already nice.
No, you muted it.
No. It's not muted.
No? What's
It's
this?
just notifications.
No. Oh, that's mute.
Mm-hmm.
No, no wonder you didn't hear.
Mikanoribanto says congrats.
Because the TTS is coming from our desktop audio. It's not coming from the chat. So this is only going to be the chat function.